Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real, the tortured version. Uh, I apologize for the voice
Part
this
two.
morning, but god dang it, it won't come
It
back.
came back yesterday
Well,
for a
see,
period.
It was brief. It was
No,
brief.
so
It
you
was
know,
brief.
the difference between today and yesterday.
I know what he's finna say, Michelle. You do too.
See,
What
you
happened
should have
yesterday, Jermaine?
yesterday before we went on the air. I
Mhm.
got the unction
The umption.
No,
the
you weren't
unction.
choking me today.
to put my hands on her esophagus
You know.
and her trachea. As I was praying for her trachea, I felt words coming up through her esophagus.
We
Words.
appreciate it.
And today she turned down prayer. And
no, I turned down hands on my throat.
or hands on
That's
your
what
throat.
I turned
Oh,
down.
She turned down hands on
I
her throat.
turned down domestic violence. That's what I,
Today, you know, she need a little
That-
pressure
that's
around
what
her
I
throat.
turned down.
You know, it ain't throat,
One
it's
man-
throat.
One man's treasure is another man's trash.
She needs some pressure.
You won't be killing me.
A little pressure.
Good morning, Mr. Ride Out. How you doing this morning?
Well, woman,
You good?
I'm great. Today is Thursday.
That'll never happen, Michelle.
Say what?
That'll never happen.
No.
Where he simply says, "I'm good." You know?
Right. I
Well-
tried to give him a hint. Tried to give him a hint.
No, I am good. I'm good. You know, man, I'm feeling great. And I just want to say, Michelle, when you wear your hair like that,
Oh my God, you make me sick. You make me so sick.
I'm just saying,
You make
you know,
me so
when you wear your
sick.
hair like that,
Oh my God.
it just make me act a fool in the mornings.
You know what?
Don't wear your hair like that then.
I could be bald headed and you act like so
Okay, I'm done.
thank you. Thank you. Clark Kent.
You
There you
fool.
go. There you go. What's
sound
happening,
depressed,
bro?
Yeah, who you with? Come on, man. Get some energy up in here, man.
Come on, man.
Do it again, Michelle. You gotta do it again.
Try it again.
That wasn't
Try it
right,
again.
man. That was
There you
fool,
go. There you
man.
go. There you go, man.
Well, look, you know, y'all the most, y'all harassed him yesterday. I know
Who
he
you
gets sick of
with?
y'all. Good morning, Shelby. How you doing this
I
morning?
gotta tell you about the Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Happy Meal.
Y'all raggedy. What's happening, Debo? How you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Oh, he left it like that.
He
Wow.
tried to get at you.
This cat is amazing.
No, he trying to get at you.
Yeah.
All right, family. A lot to get to today. I don't know whose voice we gonna use to do it, but we gonna struggle through. This morning we have the county executive coming in. Gonna be talking the budget this morning. Both the mayor, the city, and the county have been out, you know, making the rounds, talking to the community, have had public listening sessions, talking about our current fiscal situation. We have seen some stories that have caught us off guard. Excuse me, whether it's Milwaukee County Transit and what was going on with the fare evasions. I think over $4 million in unpaid fares. But I love that they were able to pinpoint the routes in which people were getting on the bus and not paying. Over by Village Library, some straight crooks. So we will talk to the county. I'm just saying. We will talk to the county exec this morning. But a couple of things that just need to be said off the top. Just off the top. Let me just say this. Let me pull it up. I should have had it pulled up. Every now and then, usually like a lot of people right before bed, I do the rabbit hole of videos, you know, Instagram, Facebook. And last night, I saw a video of something that just had me screaming in the house. So I am a person who has been HBCU adjacent in terms of my family. My son went to HBCU. love all things HBCUs. I am a huge fan of the marching bands. I go to the game to see the band. The football is secondary. If there was no football game, I'm just going to Battle of the Bands. Okay. Anybody that knows anything about historically Black colleges, you know that the drum major is one of the most coveted positions. It means that you're one of the coldest on the field. Out of all them people in all the different sections with all the different instruments, you are one of the coldest on the field. So last night, I see video footage of Florida A&M University, FAMU. And the FAMU Marching 100, they band is a fool. Always has been. When they start playing, they blow people just out the stadium. I don't know, but Jackson State been clowning too. FAMU, for the first time in the history of the school, has now selected their very first female head drum major. This young sister is actually from Nigeria, and they just call her Dupe. Her name is as long as all get out. If y'all got time, go pull up first female drum major for FAMU and watch this sister make her grand entrance. Oh my God. When I tell you, y'all hear my voice? When I tell you, I was so excited. This girl did the thing. So, first woman in the history of the school to be a head drum major. So I just gotta say that. Kudos, and she's beautiful on top of it. Kudos to this sister. She was representing and holding it down for women everywhere. So that's just one. The other thing that I want to say this morning is that I literally probably lost my voice even more when I was watching the news accounts that are now saying that Donald Trump is not just taking out the back wall of the East Wing, that he's destroying the entire East Wing of the White House. When I tell you that, like, I'm rocking Jesus to just stay controlled. This is the most outrageous, egregious. I'm sick of the media not talking about this in the way that raises the level of severity. We've had people, Jermaine was just showing me a post where somebody said, well, Obama put in a basketball court. Obama converted a tennis court that had been put in by a previous administration to a basketball court. He did not touch or deface the White House.
Just imagine if he would have.
Oh, Barack has been talking about this himself now. There are a number of podcasts in different places that he's been appearing, and he was like, come on, man. Just imagine if I had done any of this. Come on, man. And so what I just need people to understand is that when I say this is damn white privilege on display at its damn finest, and for the babies that's listening, Miss Michelle is sorry, but I am so mad with the way this man is being allowed to just do whatever he wants to. And all of these silly Republican men and women in DC have just gotten down on their knees and bent down to this man, and just, it does not matter what happens. You are tearing up an entire wing of the White House. Where is that done? And we're not talking about adding no balcony. We're not talking about some cosmetic changes. You literally have just torn down a piece of American freaking history for all these flag waving, Pledge of Allegiance swearing, my country, 'tis a thee, tears in your damn eyes when the Star Spangled Banner plays. Where y'all at? Oh, wait, you're nowhere, because when they tow up the U.S. Capitol, spread feces all over the walls, broke out the windows, and scaled up the side of the building like damn monkeys, you didn't have nothing to say.
Shell, it seems to me that what Trump is doing is not only is he putting his mark in history, but he wants, even after when he's gone, when you go by the White House, you're going to see Trump.
They're saying that the ballroom potentially is going to be bigger than the White House.
And that's what he's doing.
But I'm going to tell you this, and I ain't lying. Whoever gets elected, they ought to tear it down.
Tear it right back down.
As soon as they get in office, I, as a taxpayer, will be happy for my money to go to tear it down and put it back the way it was.
For him to destroy history like that, well, he's already doing a trail of that anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
erasing
in so many ways.
In so many ways.
Yeah, the fact that you would take down a picture of a former president in the White House, in terms of Joe Biden, and replace Joe Biden's picture with an auto pen. This man is so ignorant. He's so ignorant. Like,
dude is silly.
He childish.
Yeah, he's silly.
I mean, I just can't believe particularly white men who think they so macho and and this is who you follow. This dude is an idiot.
Before those people that's around him and that's going along or that's advising him, it makes it even worse.
I don't know if he's listening to advisors.
When I say,
wow,
this man, first of all, he's always had an inferiority complex because his family's money came from prostitution and liquor. And then they flipped it and got into the real estate game. So he was never accepted in high society in New York. You ain't the Vanderbilts. You're not the Chases. All of the names. Rockefellers. So when he would come, they would all turn their nose up at him and exclude him. So that's why he's always had to drip stuff in gold and create these enormous, buildings, and his name got to be so bold because literally this man has wanted to be accepted by high society and they have spurned him at every turn. So we got a man in the White House that got mental health issues, who needed to see a therapist a long time ago to deal with his, why don't nobody like me syndrome. Preservationists, people that oversee what goes on these White House grounds, people are just blown away. And then if what you're doing is so right, why don't you want pictures of the demolition to be shown to the public? They have ordered workers that are near the site not to share any photos with the public. Why? Why? You tell people this ballroom won't touch the structure. Then it's only going to do and be this size. Now it's bigger than you originally said. The idea that you got Republican members of Congress who's sitting back and acting like this is normal, this is okay. Nobody is pushing back, challenging on the Republican side with any real force. I'm just saying. I literally, I was losing my mind yesterday because Barack Obama put in a swing set for his kids white folks lost their damn mind. Oh, you're messing up the property. Blah blah blah. It was a swing set, something that could be put up and taken down for his young children to be able to have somewhere to play in that White House. This man who lied took out a whole section of the White House. And when you hear people talk about it, it's just like, well, yeah, the president has taken down the wall. Oh, wait. He's demolishing the entire thing now. Like it's normal. And this man is making moves and feels like he doesn't have to ask anybody anything. The rest of the East Wing will be gone by tomorrow. Just think about that. You don't own that building. You are only there for 3 more years. You are a temporary inhabitant of public housing. And if any of y'all are landlords and a tenant comes in and literally decides, I don't like the sunroom y'all got on your house, I'm going to have it completely removed, you would lose your mind. You would have them in court. You would be somewhere trying to sue them. I know one thing. When some sane people get control of Congress again, they need to tighten up all these damn laws and all these policies or precedents that would allow a single individual, because he is doing this solo. He has not consulted with Congress, with anybody about the decision to add a ballroom to that freaking White House and tear down that East Wing. The laws need to be changed so that he cannot ever, no one can ever do this again without some consensus and agreement among leaders in Congress. This is a damn shame what we see happening right now. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a little confused. Doesn't Congress have to approve any type of construction and stuff like that that's going on with the White House?
There is. You're right about the confusion, because there is like a national board that kind of looks over these projects. But what I've read consistently is that Trump does not have to explicitly get approval from these entities to be able to do what he's doing. But yes, there is confusion about what is Congress's role in something like this. So I'm gonna look some more.
Yeah, because this is going to be a pretty big mess. You know, he doesn't have a real good track record with paying for construction and things like that. He may have the money to do it now, but that don't necessarily say that he's going to be ready to part with it. And by the time this new portion of the White House is ready, he's going to be just about on his way out of there. You know, and there's a lot going on with that. You know, and lately, a lot of stuff that Congress, or that should go through Congress, he been just bypassing. You know, that's an issue.
And they gotta fix this. And I said this the first time he was in office. We found out so many loopholes in our system that we just trusted that people who got in these roles would do the right thing, do what had been done previously. And Donald Trump pushed up against a lot of those norms his first go round. This right here, I don't know how many people saw this coming. So, and I just found the section about what protections we have. So I'll read that as soon as we're done with the call. Thank you, bro. Oh, go ahead.
I hope there are protections from us having to foot the bill for all of this.
We'll see. We'll see, because right now it's underway. If he walked away from the project right now, taxpayers would have to pay for it to be fixed. So that is the other part of that. Like literally, if he decided, but the money is actually being held. They talked about it's being held with one of the national offices. This $250 million, and I don't know if he's put his portion in because they released the list of all of the companies, Facebook or Meta, Apple, Microsoft, that put the money in. They just released that list, I think, yesterday. I saw it. So Trump is also supposed to have put his own personal money in, and it's being held like with the Treasury Department or somebody like that. I'll get the specifics on it. So that's what they're saying right now.
I get that, but if it's the people's house, the people should have had some say in whether.
Absolutely. No argument. No argument.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. So I pulled up the information. Despite the White House's historic and symbolic significance, there was little to protect it from the demolition work now underway. The White House, along with the Supreme Court building, the Capitol building, and several other properties, is exempted from historic preservation rules that would otherwise stand in the way of such a building being torn down. Under Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, a strict review process is required for federal projects that may affect historic buildings, leading to both public scrutiny and legal obligations surrounding any proposed changes to existing historic resources. When it comes to the White House, various other entities have some level of oversight, including the National Park Service, the Commission of Fine Arts, and the National Capital Planning Commission. But none can fully override a project like the demolition and ballroom addition due to the building's Section 106 exemption. During his time on the National Planning Commission, this guy was talking about this whole thing, and he said projects generally improve as part of the process. You have a lot of eyes on them, a lot of different people with different interests get to look at this, get to comment. They make these things better. A lot of that has not been done in terms of this project. I got to take a break, y'all, but I want to be clear. As Trump talks about zero cost to the taxpayer, at the end of the day, staff are displaced. There are ancillary costs, whether it is the security that has to secure that construction site, because you done blew out the back part of the damn White House. So you got to have increased security monitoring the White House. There are costs that we are going to pay. They're called ancillary costs. So while we may not pay direct building costs, and then the cost to maintain it over the years, we will pay for that. If anything goes wrong with that building, if the plumbing is faulty, if something is not done right because they rushed the project because they're trying to get it done so he can have a party there next year, if anything goes on, because that was one of the questions they should have said. So once it's built, who's responsible for it? Once it's built, who's responsible for paying the damn light bill on a 90,000 square foot ballroom? The taxpayer's going to pay that. So there is a cost to us. Yes, Jermaine.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, now this is October, and they're in the first phase of this construction thing. The snow is coming. You're going to have all this stuff. So what's the timeline on them trying to finish this ballroom? And then it's going to look like a mess during the wintertime of them, because you can't build during the snow, and while it's snowing and things like that, you're not going to be able to do.
It seems like the biggest part of this first phase was just the demolition. Like now that you got the real story that, oh no, you knew you was going to tear down that whole damn wing the whole time from the get. You knew you was going to tear it down. So
his willingness to lie to the American people.
It's crazy.
No,
amazing.
the willingness of the American people to accept his lies. That's the part that gets me. He been a liar.
He clearly said
he been a liar. He was a liar the first time. What did they say? The first time he was in office, I'm going to go to break, but I'm going to find it. The first time Donald Trump was in office, they had calculated how many lies this man had told when he was in office. It was in the tens of thousands.
When you look up the word prevaricator, you should see his picture there.
Yeah.
He is the definition of that.
Like, dude is, It's just unbelievable because he stood and said, "Well, I'm not going to touch the White House."
Because
He
he'll
had
lie,
pictures
he'll
In
lie
his
to you before he'll
first-
tell you the truth.
In his first 4 years
so many ways,
in
yeah.
office, they have documented that Donald Trump told 30,573 lies.
Now
Almost.
that is crazy.
That's almost as many as you, Jermaine.
No, see, I got 31,000. See,
That's what I said. Almost.
see, no, he ain't nowhere near me. I got him beat. You understand me? No, but I don't understand why the candidates didn't bring this up to when they was debating this dude.
Because number one,
His base ain't going nowhere.
I mean,
Yeah, but for people that was unsure,
because some of the candidates on the Republican side was hoping he might choose them as a running mate. If they did, at
Wait,
some point,
but even from
everybody was gonna handle him with kid gloves because they were scared of the banks.
but from the Democrat side,
I mean, but you being drowned out, because Democrats said a bunch of stuff. You got drowned out, and what the media chose to cover, like that first term, the media and let me pull that up while we're going to break. The media gave Donald Trump an estimated I don't know how many millions of dollars in basically free advertising because they covered everything he said and did. The Democrats couldn't get coverage like that. If he said boo, they had a whole camera crew outside waiting for him to say boo.
And you got to remember, these are the same people that are afraid that he, because he started talking stuff like using our airways for free. You should be charged for this. There's all kind of little things or innuendos that he'll throw out there that would scare, people that are using airways to broadcast.
So, all right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
Crazy.
But when I say, y'all, this is unreal, this is unreal. We'll be right back. All right, family, welcome back to the show. Taking a minute to talk about the fact that this liar in the White House who stood up in front of the American people and told them that the White House would not be compromised in his desire to build a place to party at the White House has now stood up or sat down in front of the press and said, "Oh, yeah, we tearing out the whole thing. We the whole thing. Yeah, by the end of the week, that joint will be gone." So talking about that, but I also wanted to bring up um this. When I say this man is impacting every facet of life, every facet of life. So for folks that pay attention to your taxes and any new updates on taxes, Donald Trump's administration has changed charitable giving or has created new tax laws that are going to impact potentially charitable giving. What do I mean? Beginning in 2026, and this was just done in his fake big beautiful bill. Beginning in 2026, there will be a 0.5% modified adjusted gross income reduction on the amount you can deduct for charitable giving. So, for example, if you were to give somebody $10,000, you would lose $50 in charitable deductions. So you couldn't write off that straight whole 10,000. You would write off 9,900, or you get the credit for $9,950. The tax benefit for top bracket taxpayers, currently 37%, will be capped at 35%, impacting all itemized deductions, including charitable ones. I am a person that itemizes. If you are a person that itemizes, you are going to be impacted. And the stuff that I give away for money I give away for charity, I'm now not going to be able to get the full deduction for what I give away. So, starting in 2026, for people who don't itemize, but you give money to church, you tithe, you give money to to charitable organizations. If you are a person who tithes, you will only be eligible for a $1,000 deduction as an individual for charitable giving. $2,000 if you marry. The gifts have to be cash donations made directly to the charity. So what you do on like a GoFundMe or a private foundation. So like I wrote a check to a youth serving organization like Our Next Generation. I want to make a donation to them. And I'm single. I'm doing okay, but I'm single. And I don't itemize. And I want to give Our Next Generation $2,500 for their summer camp program. I'd only be able to get credit for giving Our Next Generation, no money, because I have to do it in cash and I cannot do it through a private foundation. How you think this is going to show up? As people, and some people won't care. I tithe, I'm going to pay my money regardless. But the fact that I no longer am eligible to claim the full amount of that charitable deduction will severely impact some people, particularly as you start talking about donations to charities and that they have to be in cash. Who walking around giving people, only cash? We got retailers that won't even take cash. I can't pay for a damn bottle of water with cash at Summerfest. I can't go to some stores to get my nails done and use cash in those facilities. So what do you mean that the donation can only be in cash? I can't do a debit card. I can't do a credit card donation. What does that mean? When I say that this man is impacting every facet of American life, y'all better pay attention. And it is not even the end of the year. What could he do in the remaining 2 months and few days that we have in this year? Literally, we started the week thinking a wall was going to be torn down. And by the end of the week, the entire East Wing will be gone. But he knew it all along. He knew it when he stood up at that mic the first time and said, we're not going to touch the White House itself. It's going to be built really close, really, really close. He knew he was lying when he said it. Let me take these 2 calls, and then I want to welcome one of my guests to the studio. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I got a few things, but I'm gonna make them quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Did he say what he's gonna build the East Wing into?
It's a ballroom. He's making a place.
Ballroom.
Yeah, a ball like we throw parties every day at the White House, but it's a ballroom.
Okay, another fact that he's doing all this stuff, God gonna get him in the end, just because like when God had that fight with Satan, when he went down in hell and beat him in the 3 days, because Satan had way more power than Trump. God gonna get Trump in the end. You can believe that.
Okay. Was that it? That's all you got for me?
Yes.
Well, you left out on the big one. All right, then.
All right.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later. Let me get the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
This administration is evil, evil, evil. Evil, evil, evil. And people are not responding like they should. Michelle, so people donate to your basketball league. They get jerseys and stuff like that and write them off on their taxes, or they do the book bag. People, you saying we can't do that stuff no more?
I'm saying
they used to do it and donate thousands of dollars to the Central City to help us out with things because they just had so much money. And now you're saying that if they don't do cash for $1,000, we won't be able to get help with some of the services.
I am telling you, absolutely, it is going to be impacted in the way people make.
What is it going to take for people to realize, okay, your stamp's about to be cut, your insurance, now you can't even get a damn book bag for your child because of this administration, for you to stand up and say something and start doing something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, caller. We will talk more about that. But I just like I said, y'all, he only got sworn in on January 21st.
I swear, man, it seemed like it's been 9 years. And it ain't even been a whole year yet, man. This is
you done ripped off the back of the White House.
this guy here, man.
You done ripped off the back of the White House. Come on, man. Well, that don't
say it again.
Don't get us started. Don't get us started.
Conspiracy with a Q. I'm telling you.
All right, family. I told you that I was going to be joined this morning by none other than County Executive David Crowley. We applaud.
Yeah. That's my dude right there, man.
That's
your hand clap.
We're going to talk about this budget. You might want to hold on.
We already started blaming the white people.
What you say? Look at me. A politician literally needs to get up to the mic and say that. Don't look at me. It ain't my fault. So I want to welcome this brother to the studio. This is a conversation that I have been definitely wanting to have. Mm-hmm. I hate that I missed the budget hearing or the budget address. Thank you. But the questions have been swirling everywhere. Yeah. So we're actually going to get right into it because I don't know what your time is like. I need to make sure I'm good on time this morning. So first of all, let me say good morning to you.
Good morning.
How you doing, sir?
Every day is a good day. Some days are better than others, but every day is a good day.
I like the little phrase.
Thank you.
I appreciate the versatility of a brother. So County Executive Crowley.
Yes.
We are right now in the throes of trying to figure out financially how we move forward as a county.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that are saying, well, can we get some basics first, Michelle?
Yeah.
So for folks that are like new to the budget process, they, or they haven't been paying attention, let people understand what the top line dollar amount is that we're talking about that it takes to run our county. And then we'll get into some of the structural deficits and things that are going on. But just 30,000 foot view to help people understand what we're talking about.
Absolutely. So Milwaukee County, we provide a lot of health and human services. We provide transportation. We are over the Milwaukee County Zoo. We support the courts. We support the jail, the community reintegration center, the airport, all these different things throughout Milwaukee County, actually assisting many of our most vulnerable residents. We have a $1.4 billion budget. Okay. And so that is how we spend dollars, not just on operations, but also related to the capital projects that we have. And so what folks need to understand is that we have been able.
When you say capital project, can you
capital projects? So infrastructure. So anything that has to do with improving our parks, improving road conditions, improving buildings that Milwaukee County own, and just making sure that we can continue to maintain that. I mean, we've had a $1 billion backlog in deferred maintenance when it comes down to infrastructure in Milwaukee County.
So when we were looking at the community sessions that was happening at the senior center,
McGovern Park, right? And so one of the reasons why we were focusing on, okay, how do we think outside the box to save this particular senior center is we don't have money if something was to go wrong. And unfortunately, we got hit with historic floods. Those historic floods, particularly for McGovern Park, not only created flooding issues, but it's also creating mold issues. It has created an issue related to being able to go in there and just breathe without having to have a mask on. And so we don't have those types of dollars to actually invest in buildings like that when things go awry. And so it's important that the community understand that we were bringing outside the box and innovative solutions. That is one of the reasons why, because of the access of funding dollars that we had access to in order to make the improvements, particularly around housing. And so what folks need to also understand is that for the past, since 2020, Milwaukee County, the way we've been able to spend dollars and keep things afloat is because of the American Rescue Plan Act dollars that we actually received.
We hear people call it ARPA money.
ARPA money.
Which was connected to COVID-19.
Which is correct. And so all of those dollars were either had to be allocated by specific time, and we've ran out of those dollars last year. The only entity that has access to COVID-19 dollars or ARPA funds is the Milwaukee County Transit System, right? Which it will be running out next year. And we assumed that we would have been able to have these dollars up until next year to be able to exhaust to make sure that we can maintain a Milwaukee County transit system. But in the midst of the past couple of months, we've all learned that there were some issues going on within MCTS. And so we've seen this huge budget gap. Now, this budget gap, though, that we've been talking about within the Milwaukee County transit system has been looming prior to me even becoming the county executive, because nothing has really changed as far as ridership was not going up. The amount of dollars that we're receiving from both the state and federal governments has not gone up. And if we don't have those partnerships with the state and federal government, it's going to be very difficult for us to maintain our Milwaukee County transit system. When we receive those ARPA funds, the state of Wisconsin, the Republicans in the state legislature cut $40 million from our transit system that first year. And that created a huge hole and actually limited our ability moving forward to figure out how we will be able to right size this. And now we're coming up against this looming deficit within MCTS. And if we don't get ahead of this now, right, the deficit that we're seeing within the transit system is only going to balloon, and it's going to be very difficult for us to have a transit system for generations to come.
So just framing, we were in trouble before COVID hit.
And I know a lot of folks like, well, you get the sales tax, you did, and it's just like, yo, you're right. We did get the sales tax. We also just got another $40 million out of this last biennial budget. So if you add the sales tax, we approximately brought in about $80 million into Milwaukee County. We received another $40 million through this biennial budget. So that's $120 million. If we wouldn't have gotten those dollars, the budget deficit that we'll be facing right now, you add the $46 million to that, will be $164 million for Milwaukee County.
So the money from the referendum does what? How much does that actually end up translating to when we talk about the budget itself?
Those dollars what the sales tax allowed us to do was back out a lot of the property taxes that we were putting into the pension fund.
Okay.
which allowed us to put that towards other priorities. So when you think about housing, when you think about our Department of Health and Human Services, county transit, we were able to allocate those dollars to make sure that we can continue to move to move these services along. And so with this particular budget, we've had to not only look at careful spending decisions, we do have some new revenues, but we are making sure that we are lessening the burden on all of our county property tax holders across Milwaukee County, while also making sure that we can preserve many of the services that people rely on. And so I want folks to understand that with this particular budget, because we also gave the largest property tax cut in the county's history last year, property taxes are still going to be lower than what they were in 2023 for Milwaukee County residents.
Okay. But did I read somewhere that we are potentially looking at upwards to $30 million in cuts to like some of the health services and different things that the county provides? Because do I need a lower property tax? If I'm going to also on the other end, we're going to lose vital services or be in jeopardy of not being able to perform at the level that we need to. So speak to
if you see a cut in this budget, if you see a cut in this budget, it is not because of the dollars that we actually put towards it when it comes down to local property taxes. You're seeing these cuts because of the federal budget reductions that we have seen through the bills that were passed in Congress. And so when we take into account how Medicaid pay for health services or behavioral health services or services for our seniors, we are a pass-through. So we get dollars from the federal government to put into these programs and services. And when you see these dollars getting cut at the federal level, so when people say, oh, we got to get rid of this waste, a lot of people don't understand how that affects us at the local level because we're the ones actually administering those programs and services.
So if we see something like I said, is that number about right when we said about $30 million?
I would say that's about right. Yeah.
I thought I saw it somewhere in that ballpark. So that
and that's not including the anticipation of other federal grants that will be getting cut as we begin to move forward in this administration.
Okay, so then help people understand, because we hear terminology like structural deficit.
Yes.
What is that?
So a structural deficit is basically out of everybody's control because of the levers that were pulled years ago by folks like, I don't know, former Governor Scott Walker, who put in levy limits, right? Structural deficit means that we don't have the ability to raise more revenue, but our costs are going up. So not just Milwaukee County, any city, town, village across the entire state and county across the entire state are facing the same issues that we're facing here in Milwaukee County. We cannot raise our revenues more than 1%, right? Unless there's net new construction. And you can imagine not a lot of communities outside of Milwaukee County has the ability to focus on net new construction, but our costs are rising anywhere between 2 to 3% a year. And when we take into account healthcare costs right now, they've been increasing 15% year over year for the past 2 years. And so healthcare costs is one of the main drivers of why we're seeing cost increases here within Milwaukee County and municipal governments. And so you also take into account that now folks won't be able to get those premiums they need because of what's happening at the federal level, right? To be able to pay for their health care. And so when people are now going without health care, that's actually going to increase the cost on all of us, because now our private insurance, if you have private insurance, your private insurance is going to go up in order to pay for those who are going into the ER room. And so we all have to understand that when it comes down to health care, we're paying in some type of capacity, no matter what.
So you put, you get all departments to figure out where they can trim fat. I know people laughing at that right now. Michelle, we as skinny as and lean as we can be.
Yeah. We're trying not to make sure that we ain't cutting off a major limb,
exactly,
right?
At this point. And then there are folks that got concerned when they saw $4 million that did not make it into the county coffers because of people evading paying their fares to get on the bus. Then MTCS and $10 million potentially problems there.
Yeah.
But even with those two things, we still would have a major issue on our hands.
Oh, absolutely. We would still have a major issue. And I want people to understand when it comes down to, there's about 30% when it comes down to fare evasion. That's normal When you go to Seattle, if you go to Atlanta, if you go to Washington, there are other communities that actually have higher percentage of fare evasion. We're at 30% when you have other communities that are like at 33%, that are at 40%. What's different for us than other communities is that we do not have a dedicated fund for public transit here within Milwaukee County.
What that means, though.
Which means that so let's take the vehicle registration fee as an example, right? That is one of the only levers that we have within Milwaukee County to actually raise revenues. We can't just raise property taxes at a certain level. We can't, for example, say, well, we're gonna increase fees on birth certificates. Cities, towns, villages have more opportunity to increase fees, right? We don't collect garbage, so we can't increase garbage fees. We don't collect, we don't give out the water, so we can't increase those water fees, right? Milwaukee County is very, very limited. So we have the vehicle registration fee, and about 75, 80% of the vehicle registration fee technically is going towards our Milwaukee County transit system, while the rest of those dollars is helping with our roads and other transportation projects that we have. And so it's extremely important to understand, because the reliance on both the federal government, who helps to provide bonding and infrastructure whenever we need new buses, and the state will provide they used to provide about, I'm not mistaken, about $30-something million to Milwaukee County to make sure that we can maintain our system. But these are also dollars that can't go into operations. They can only go into infrastructure, making sure that we'll build, not only building the buildings, but making sure that the buses are also maintained for people to enjoy whenever they need to get from point A to point B.
So what's the answer? And I mean, there are a couple of other things I want to put in, but so you present this budget. At the end of the day, whether we're talking about recommendations, how we balance this, how we survive, what are you telling, your departments as well as the community about how we get through this, or do we have a plan?
We absolutely do have a plan. And so we found a way to minimize the impact when it comes down to this particular budget. So we've filled this gap, and we've done that not only with careful spending decisions, but we got more revenue from the state of Wisconsin that allowed us to help plug these holes. But we've also, for the past few years, understanding that we were not out of the woods yet, we have built up a debt service reserve, the largest debt service reserve that we've ever had within Milwaukee County, and it's over $100 million. And so we're taking some money from that debt service reserve to make sure that we can plug them into these programs, because we need to figure out how we ramp down if we're looking towards the future. I don't want to
tell people what ramp down.
Well, so ramp down is that while we take into account what is happening, I think Milwaukee County Transit System is a perfect example. Because we know that we are running out of dollars, we need to make sure that we are right sizing the system now, right? Ridership is still low compared to pre-COVID-19. Revenues are still low compared to pre-COVID-19, right? And that's nothing unique to Milwaukee County. We're seeing this all across the entire country. It was actually in the public policy report that Rob Hankin actually did, showing that we are actually trying to do what we can. It's no different than what is happening in communities all across this state.
I just want you got somebody listening. They was like, ramp down equal cuts.
No, ramp down. Listen, we want to manage expectations. If we know, and let's be real, we don't want to just cut everything right away, right? We need to figure out, how do we make sure that people understand what is coming. So when we say right size, so for example, there's going to be 11 routes affected by Milwaukee County Transit System. We've proposed 6 cuts in 5 routes that will be modified. The routes that are looking at being cut right now, less than 5% of riders actually use it, right? And so we want to make sure that the system that we have, make sure that we don't actually minimize the transit experience also at the same time. And so folks will say, well, just reduce all the buses. It's just like, it just doesn't work like that, right? Because certain buses, you may see 1 million riders on those buses, at certain times of the day. On other buses, you only may see, 200 people who may use it throughout the day. Right. And so we have to make sure that we're right sizing our Milwaukee County transit system and having that conversation now before devastating cuts has to come in the future, when we know that this fiscal cliff that MCTS has been facing way before I became the county executive.
So let's just take a moment and pivot to what we see by way of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
The governor comes out and says, hey, we got 10 days before SNAP benefits get in.
And I agree with him. All hell will break loose.
So for folks that need to understand in terms of county services, I'm thinking immediately like, are any of our programs like the mental health facility or any
behavioral health services for our seniors, services for our young people, services that rely on Medicaid to actually pay for some of the services that we provide. All of these things will have a huge impact. And so when you hear the federal government is shutting down, you also got to think about the grant dollars that we were earmarked to get. Those dollars aren't being allocated anymore. And so when we see a lapse of funding, that means that we can't continue to provide those programs and services because those dollars actually come from the federal government.
The first call I got was somebody saying, Michelle, how am I affected by Meals on Wheels, the food delivery program for seniors? Is that something that potentially goes away, is impacted?
Absolutely. So we're talking about healthcare services that we provide. We're talking about nutrition, food services that we provide, like people with disabilities. When we think about birth to 3 programs, finding intellectual and disabilities within kids between 0 to 3, those are federally funded programs. And so if the federal government stops and we don't have the dollars to actually invest in those programs and services that so many people are relying on, that creates a whole ripple effect, right? I mean, let's take into account what is happening around housing, right? And some of the proposed rules that they're talking about, kicking people out of housing after so long, after 2 years. Well, how do you think that's going to affect homelessness in your own backyard, right? But it's also going to affect many landlords as well who've been relying on those dollars and who may be on their own fixed incomes and don't know what they're going to do moving forward because they don't know how to move anybody into those homes now, right? This is going to create a huge ripple effect. And this is on President Trump and the Republicans in Congress because we're talking about negotiating affordable health care for veterans, for people with disabilities, for our seniors, for children. We're talking about providing nutritious foods, right, through the SNAP program. 700,000 people rely on that program here in the state of Wisconsin.
So do we have any lines in the sand? Like Eva said, 10 days and SNAP cards is going off.
I think
do we have anything like that at the county that we literally could say, if this shutdown does not get fixed in 14 days, this service will
we're now at 9 days. We're less than 10 days away.
So how are you all educating the community to let them know that X, Y, and Z could be impacted?
Well, I think everybody's trying to let folks understand that this federal shutdown affects more than what you think. This is not just, people not getting paid who are our TSA members down at the airport, right? It's when you think about FEMA, who's on the ground right now helping individuals out until November 6th to make sure that they can get their those folks aren't getting paid, but they're still working, right? We have to make sure that we're supporting those types of individuals, but we also have to make sure that we understand that this is going to affect some of the most vulnerable people in our entire community. And so the federal government, we need everybody to understand that a lot of this is happening because the president just refuses to actually come to the table and negotiate something to get done with Democrats who only want to make sure that they're protecting working people across the entire country. And so I want to put out a call that not only should you be calling your congressperson, right? And I think that when you think about Senator Tammy Baldwin, Congresswoman Gwen Moore, these are people who are on our side. So you not only need to call them so they can make sure that they're relaying the message, but you also got to call all the other congressmen here in the state of Wisconsin, as well as Senator Ron Johnson, to let them know how you're going to be affected moving forward.
So I'm going to do this real quick. I want to make sure I'm doing what people ask. So somebody said, good morning. Tell David to keep it real about the buses because I regularly ride the bus. Some other folks have talked about, the wheel tax that came up. Folks are
that was at the city level. We did not raise the vehicle registration fee in this budget.
Okay. And somebody else upset about MTCS corporate and is there anything that is being done for the folks that deceived the county?
I can't really speak to that.
At least ask the question.
Yeah, but we brought in a great new director who came from Chicago's Transit Authority, who was helping us to look at the entire system. And so we are being honest when it comes down to MCTS. It's only 11 routes that are being affected right now. But we want people to understand, managing expectations, that this is only going to get worse because we will no longer have American Rescue Plan Act dollars, ARPA funds next year to plug into our Milwaukee County transit system. And so if we don't right size it now, it's going to get more expensive and harder in the future.
So to close this out, where are we in terms of this process? So you have the budget. So,
we presented the budget to the county board. Many of the county board supervisors are doing their own hearings at this moment as well in district. So please reach out to your Milwaukee County Board of Supervisor. I believe that we usually finish and wrap up the budget right before or right after Thanksgiving. Okay. And so this is the time to let your voice be heard. But it's not to say that this is all doom and gloom, because we also are making sure to make certain types of investments to also make sure that people aren't falling directly off of that cliff, right? And so, we are putting more money into the Department of Health and Human Services. We are still making sure to invest in programs like the Credible Messengers program to help out our young people. We're still putting dollars towards housing with our housing voucher program, who helps 1,800 families annually to make sure that when tough times hit, they can make sure that they have access to some dollars and things of that nature. So we are trying to minimize the impact, but I think it's extremely important that folks understand that I am trying to protect our local taxpayers to make sure that we're not paying for the decisions that are happening in Washington, D.C. at the exact same time.
I'll ask you that question offline. All right. So, this is what I'm gonna do. I want to be respectful of your time. Jay, was this a caller for the county executive? Yeah. We okay?
Yep.
All right. Let's get this caller in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes. Good morning, Michelle. Everybody,
Good
county
morning.
executive.
Good morning.
I want the county executive to know I appreciate you being approachable in the community and knowledgeable coming into WNOV, telling us what's going on.
Thank you.
That was my comment. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Right,
thank you.
So on that note, like I said, the need for people to be educated is critical, but also I'm glad that you put out a call to action, because there are more things that we could and should be doing, reaching out to legislators, talking about what the priority areas are. I understand that the mayor, who had a listening session over at King Drive, or somebody at the King Library this past Saturday, I heard it was like 60 people there.
Yeah.
I was so happy for that, because, you don't see, and I think like 40 some people spoke. We need people to be engaged in this process.
We absolutely
to understand exactly what's at stake here. We got some more. You got okay for a couple calls?
Yeah, I got time.
Okay. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. This is Angela.
Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Let me say something to you, David. I'm the one that sent that text about I regularly ride the bus, because you made a statement about something with the budget. And people every day that get on that bus, it be the same people riding for free. I keep my Go Pass full. Mm-hmm. What you need to do, I know you got other obligations, but you need to come out here and I'll get on the bus with you and ride the bus and see what's going down, because every day it's the same ones that's getting on for free. I thought they stopped all that, but they haven't. The bus drivers are doing what they're told to do by letting these people get on for free every day. But you know how bad that makes me feel? That I only get a disability check and I keep my Go Pass full so I can get from point A to point B when I need to.
Ms. Angela.
That really pisses me off.
Ms. Angela, I appreciate that and agree with you. What I would say is, what a lot of people don't know is this: the federal government changed rules at the federal level in 2022 to where no operator across the entire country can ask for fare.
Across the country. And so when we talk about fair evade, and the reason why that is, I should have told a reporter that so they could have.
We've been telling folks that. We've been telling. I've literally told folks, like, listen, in 2022, the federal government actually changed the rules to say that an operator can only ask for fare once, and after that, they can't ask anymore. And the reason why they did that change, okay, we in Milwaukee County alone seen a 42% reduction in assaults on our operators. Okay. And so it wasn't about the issue is it was necessarily like, oh, we want to make sure that they're, you want to make sure that they're not paying. No, it was about safety for the people who are actually driving the bus, because those assaults, those issues that we see with operators 9 times out of 10 are related to fair disputes.
All right, another caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, County Supervisor David Crowley.
How you doing?
I just want to thank you for all you do, first of all.
Thank you.
And also with the McGovern thing, my mom is 82 years old, her girlfriend's 88, and they both frequented the McGovern Center all the time. And unfortunately, that went out. But I want to thank you for providing the free transportation. Now they utilize the free transportation to go to other senior centers.
Yes.
And we really appreciate that, especially our family. My mother's in early stages of dementia. And so to get her out every day to go to those things, and it's hard for my brother and I because we both work. So for you to provide that for us and for the senior citizens is really a plus. And I just want to thank you for it. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right, last call. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question. At these budget hearings, why do we always hear what we need, but we never hear what we've already got? And I mean, when you look at our gas taxes, the wheel taxes for our infrastructure, why isn't that stuff mentioned, man? Because it's millions and millions of dollars. We constantly going up on things for our infrastructure, for one, because that's the big driving force for you guys. You know, infrastructure. Now we put this health thing in there.
Well, we've always provided health care for our community, right? And so when we talk about infrastructure,
hang on 1 second, okay. Meech, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna ask you to listen offline because we're up against the clock. But I'm gonna let you listen offline. Go
so
ahead,
when it comes down to we always talk about infrastructure because the decisions of our past leaders, they've kicked the can down the road so long that these cans that we have to recycle are much more expensive than they were before, right? And so, like, let's talk about the public safety building, right? Let's just take that into account.
I'm sorry.
Right now, when we look at the cost of the public safety building, we're talking about a $500 million not thinking about the interest, a $500 million project, right? And I remember talking to one of the county supervisors who showed me a post from 9 years ago about how replacing that building would have cost $200 million. But because 9 years ago, it would have cost $200 million, right? And so now we're looking at how we can do this because we're dumping a lot of money into this, right? We can create more operational efficiencies and save money on other things by actually focusing on infrastructure. But because we haven't been doing that, now we got to put up rainy day funds just in case something goes bad, right? And that costs us a lot more money over time. And so the more and more that we do not fix our infrastructure, the more expensive it becomes. And that just weighs on property taxpayers moving forward because that's the only way within Milwaukee County that we have the ability to raise revenues. And so we don't do anything around the gas. We don't collect the gas tax. We collect property taxes. We collect the vehicle registration fee, and the county's portion is only $30 and hasn't changed since about 2016. And then we get certain revenues through our Department of Health and Human Services through Medicaid reimbursements. There are not a lot of ways as a county that we can actually bring in money.
So I'm in here.
Okay.
What somebody said, when you went to the state, they said it was 400+ million, but it will be $1 billion. And I'm assuming it was in relationship to the last thing that you talked about.
Our capital backlog.
Yeah.
Our capital backlog, it's been $1 billion even prior to me becoming a county executive. Right. The capital backlog and half of that capital backlog, we talk about $1 billion capital backlog, half of that is the public safety building.
Okay. And then somebody said a 72-year-old bus driver just got assaulted. I'm not sure if you were aware of that.
I have not been aware of that, but I will make sure to reach out to MCTS and make sure to have conversations.
Okay. All right. Well, what I will do is we will get you back, before the end of the year. Just to figure out kind of where we are, after the county board got a chance to kick it around and see what goes on. But I think that this was good. And I hope, that you see the community's interest in trying to understand.
And I'm glad, and I'm so excited about the fact that the level of engagement has really changed because people are seeing how they're going to be impacted on an everyday basis. But I want so folks understand what we have been able to do. If we wouldn't have had the reforms that we have created in the past 3 years, our deficit would be at $162 million, and we got it down to 46 million. And so we know that we're not out of the woods yet, but we're going to have to continue to partner with both the state and the federal governments in order to fix these problems, because they are not just facing Milwaukee County. They're facing every county, every community, every school district across our entire state.
All right, folks. That is none other than County Executive David Crowley, who tries to rival me on his glasses game. He don't want it. But I just want to make sure that I thank him, thank Jonathan, thank the team that helped make the appearance possible. And let's make sure people understand this is a part of our ongoing monthly conversation. So this is not a special one and done. That was one of the first things you set up when you came into office, was to make sure that the county had a presence here on the station. And so this was a part of that monthly commitment to do so. So we appreciate it. Family, I got to take a break. We will be right back, and he got to go. We got to get him out of here. Thank you, County Exec.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Be right back, y'all. Family, welcome back to the show. So I want to say I appreciated the county exec coming in to break down some of these issues in relationship to the county budget. I got a text message from County Supervisor Felicia Martin while County Exec Crowley was on, and it, it was probably meant for me. I'm gonna share it with everybody. But it just says our executive is being transparent and fighting to meet the needs in a sustainable way. And that's County Supervisor Lisa Martin, Felicia Martin. I'm gonna actually have her on the show next week because, as he said, the district supervisors are going to be having meetings and talking to constituents, and there's one coming up on Monday night. So we want to make sure that the community is educated on that. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. This is Angela.
Good morning, Angela.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, I'm just giving you an update with my health. I am getting worse and worse day by day. Going to the emergency ain't doing me any good. I was in so much pain last night, my eyeballs were hurting. That's how much pain I'm having constantly, every day. But it's getting so bad, my eyeballs hurt. And seriously.
So they have you, but you going in on Monday, right?
Yeah, but today just Thursday, but Monday right around the corner. But what am I to do if I can't? This pain is just getting so bad.
I mean,
Michelle,
I would say
it's like
this.
I got a
Then
loaded
go
gun
back
to
to
my
the.
head.
Then go back to the emergency room, Angela. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I am.
Go back.
But it's just like
you don't want go back. That what can happen? Go back. Don't if you feel like you cannot make it until Monday, go back.
yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am. Yep. But also, I just wanted to say, with all due respect, I know Mr. Crowley's doing a wonderful job. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate everything that he does. But it's just some things that he said I didn't agree with, and I'm entitled to my own opinion. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing an awesome job in office. I appreciate him. Really, I do.
But look, that's why it's called a democratic process. We don't have to agree with everything that somebody says and does.
Right.
David will tell you on any given day, me and him can disagree about, an issue as clear as day. That's because we're all independent thinkers and we have different experiences and see things through a different lens. So there is nothing wrong. And I tell people all the time, if me and you are on the same page 100% of the time, somebody ain't doing something right.
Exactly.
All right. So thank you, Angela.
All right. Have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. You too. All right. So hopefully people took away from that conversation the severity of the necessity of paying attention to what is going on in the. Can you get that door for me? But the necessity of what is going on with our local levels of government. Like I said, I was pleased to hear I had signed up to go on Saturday to the mayor's the event that was happening for the mayor's budget, and I don't know if the mayor himself was hosting that or if it was a member of the common council, but I was pleasantly surprised to hear the number of people that showed up to speak at that meeting about their priorities. This is the way we need to be engaged and be involved. I like that he put out that call to action, asking, and like in some of these cases, y'all, it's just a phone call that people asking you to make to flag for people that this is important, and if you need help understanding, well, who do we call, Michelle? Who should we be reaching out to? I'm happy to help put that together behind the scenes, or you can actually call, your county supervisor and say, how can I best help you to get us what we need back in the district? And your county supervisors can say, you might want to reach out to your state representative or not just your state representative, to representatives on this committee that are making these decisions. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
I'd like to thank you and your staff for the information that you give to this community. I hope and pray that they use the best two appendages that the Lord has ever blessed us with, and that's a set of ears to hear. Some of the things that need to be said in this community. David Crowley is doing a great job. I'm a retired bus driver myself. And the reason they told us to stop asking for fares, just what he said about the assaults on the drivers. They had a rule that you couldn't even get out the seat of somebody hit you. that was a fireable offense. And so I'm just happy that you brought him on to let all of these people know that if you get on the bus and you ask for a fare, most people don't have it. They just getting on the bus because that's the last option they got. I just don't have it. And you got any kind of compassion, have a seat. Or get you where you going.
All right.
So thanks.
Yes, sir. And thank you. Thank you for co-signing for some of that. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Debo.
Sometimes folks are just getting on those buses to get out of the elements.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Just to get a warm seat somewhere that they can just stay warm for a little while.
Yeah, I know people that ride back and forth. Missy Copeland is getting ready to be done. Oh, I got to go see her last performance.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
So is it possible, facing the deficit that the bus companies is going through, is there a way, that they could come up with some type of special lifeline, money-wise, that can cover the people that do ride for free instead of going into the negative?
I mean, like if you just, first of all, what he said, that this is happening all around the country.
Right.
It's not unique to Milwaukee.
Right.
So if you just build into your budget that $2 million is not going to be paid in fares, potentially, and you do it in such a way that, because we already know this is going to happen, it's not showing up in our bottom line, and I'm trying to figure out the accounting terminology to use for it, because there's a way to better describe what I'm talking about.
It makes sense what you're saying,
but
but what happens if that $2 million that you would put in becomes $4 million in actuality? Then you're only showing a negative $2 million.
Right. And I mean, you adjust it each year as you need to. But the other thing is that this is also not sustainable. We cannot have a system where only 60% of the people pay, or only, like Devo said, if that increases to only now 50% of the people pay, 40% of the people pay. That's not sustainable. When we talked about, why don't we have security on our buses? He talked about the cost for that. But it becomes one of those questions, like he said, the text message that was shown to him, you pay $200 million, which in that moment, I'm sure 9 years ago, was like, whoa. But today, that's $1 billion cost.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have to look at that security cost and be like, it's a hefty price. But in comparison, am I talking about potentially, I don't know, $400,000 a year in salaries for security versus a $4 million annual loss? So you got to weigh those things.
So what about if they came? No, I don't know. So I'm just asking. So what if they came up with the system that the federal government, take care of that, and in return, you might have to raise taxes.
Let me stop you, because
no. I mean, I'm just asking.
No. And I'm just saying, and it's a valid question,
yeah.
But just for the sake of your energy and mine,
mm-hmm.
This ain't the government.
Oh, right.
This ain't the administration.
Right.
That's gonna do nothing for nobody.
Right.
Unless it's their constituency and their voter base.
Right.
But
the only thing that would work is that you had to pay before the door would open.
And how you gonna do that?
Something on the outside of the bus where you either use your card or whatever outside of that bus, or the door won't open.
I get it, but for those people that is riding a bus to get out of the other elements, and you don't have cards, you don't have the stuff that the average working people have.
You getting out of the elements is costing me as a taxpayer.
So you not willing to help a little bit to save a person's life? I mean,
but at the detriment of the total transit system.
I mean, number one, it's not enough people doing it that, it's, I think we're at detriment stage.
Well, I only say that because when you look at the contract costs and all the fighting and back and forth that they're doing, with county workers and, as far as transit drivers and so forth, they always looking for.
I get it, but there has to be some kind of way that you can find some kind of money that you can allocate it towards this issue. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
like, it has to be a way.
Because the other part, like somebody was asking, just like they collecting money or collecting food at the airport for laid off federal workers,
Right.
furlough federal workers.
Right.
So is there a fund that can, be set up? Somebody texted me that. Is there a fund that can be set up that people say, hey, a few dollars go into this fund to offset the cost of people not paying their fare?
Yeah.
Or any of those things possible? I don't know.
See, I mean,
Because-
but even if you go to the store, whatever they do, like the roundup, what you like the
Mhm.
roundup for.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
anything to help.
Right. And I'm gonna be honest, I round up all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll tell anybody, if you want to understand what pennies do, change do, ask damn Potawatomi. Ask Potawatomi. Now that all of these casinos have gone to the ticket systems and you got 39 cents left on the ticket and you just throw that ticket away, or you throw it, some of them have a little container you could drop that ticket in. People do that all day, multiple thousands of times a day, and by the time you're done, you have gained quite a bit of money. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But look, I also want to mention a story real quick before I get out of here. Somebody said some people just messy. My idiot coworker just walks on and never pays to ride the bus. Yeah, that's just trifling. That's just trifling. And to Debo's now point, and when your ass ain't got no excuse me, and when you ain't got no transportation, you're gonna wish you had did the right thing. I hate people that take advantage just because you can.
And then you look at scenarios where it could be a situation where
I hate
transit becomes privatized.
I hate
then you
people.
will have a problem.
I hate people who take advantage just because they can. But speaking of taking advantage, I just gotta say this, because as we are getting ready now, people are gearing up to get ready for voting. We're going to have 4 elections, primaries, general elections next year. And, people are going to be paying close attention to Wisconsin, scrutinizing what goes on. For all the Republicans who do all that hollering about voter fraud, in Minnesota, a woman was just convicted of filling out and submitting a mail-in ballot in her deceased mother's name in support of Donald Trump. So it was a Donald Trump voter who did fraud on a mail-in ballot. Her mother had died, and she put her mother's signature and information down, voted for Donald Trump. So she goes to court. She is found guilty, okay? One of the things, and I shouldn't say that, she pled guilty last week to intentionally making or signing a false certificate. As a part of her plea, she claimed she was intoxicated when submitting the ballots. She lied. But the judge, this is what I wanted y'all to hear. The judge dismissed 2 of the charges she was looking at. Her sentence included up to 3 years of supervised probation and an $885 fine. But the judge also told her that she had to read a book about the history of voting in America, called Thank You for Voting, The Maddening, Enlightening, Inspiring Truth About Voting in America. And then he wanted her to write a paper about it. But a Black woman in another city who was on paper, who thought that she was eligible to vote, she voted. She got 5 years in prison. You gonna get a homework assignment? You gonna claim I was drunk? But the sister, because all this stuff is so muddied now about who can, who can't vote, she thought she was eligible to vote. And they say that the woman actually believed that she was eligible to vote. And she caught 5 years in prison. The color of justice. I will just say the color of justice, the color of justice, the color of justice. Next week when we come back, I'm going to stay stuck on stupid, waiting on, number one, the Milwaukee Brewers to explain themselves regarding the Hispanic man, Mexican-American veteran who they supposedly banned from the stadium. I still want to hear from y'all. And I want to talk about what we saw on a video when the show first started, because all these people have been talking about Trump blowing up these boats and there was no proof of drugs. All of a sudden, on this latest boat that they just blew up. They showed a bunch of packets of, it looked like cocaine, floating in the water after the boat had been blown up. At the same time, Jermaine and I are looking at the TV, and we both went, that's BS. Clark comes in, he looks at the TV, so it's all conveniently just in one little section together, but the boat blew up. Stuff should be everywhere. Debris should be everywhere. Some of it should have got destroyed, but there it is, floating on neatly in a circle pattern, right together.
Just like it was on a pallet, like it was sitting on a pallet.
This administration is the biggest scammers and liars and grifters, and they got the military carrying out their nonsense. I 100% believe that those drugs in the water was planted there to justify what they doing. But I want to be clear. If an individual got caught with all of the drugs that they showed in the water, they still wouldn't be executed for it in the United States.
But how you gonna prosecute them and get to where the drugs is coming from? Because the people that's moving it are not the kingpins; they the small fish.
Right.
So for you to kill the small fish, but then put a whole thing of drugs on the water as if you captured something.
And don't show that, because capturing the drugs wasn't important in all the other bombs.
That part, because you blew up everything.
You blew up everybody. And so, but like you said, it's a bomb. The explosion went off and all the drugs landed in a circle in the same spot. Like, y'all think people are stupid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God. All right, so that's the show for this week. Let me tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all. This is what I said was crack, actually. I can't stand y'all.
Unbelievable.
It was actually crack, Michelle. It wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Weilers. Y'all know who that is, right?
All in them, all nice and neatly, like it was sitting under a Christmas tree. You got presents under a tree. Stop it, man.
Like,
that's so
sad. Yeah, and this is the thing. Like I said, they think we stupid. We got some of the dumbest people in the world running this country right now.
Gotta be, man.
The dumb, bruh, who reside from the Navy. Man, get out of there.
No, but they think we dumb.
Yeah, that's what I said. But we literally,
they try to pull wool over the sheep's
we
eye.
got some of the dumbest people in
that's what's going on.
History running the American government. And there's so many stories I could have got to. I'm not going to today. But family, we'll be back at it again. I just want to say this too. Stephen A. Smith better hope I'll never see him in the airport.
Dude is a clown.
He better hope I'll never walk up on him. Never. Because it is going to be a verbal tit-tit-tay like none other. Oh my God. Woo! He making me sick right now. Okay. That's the show, bruhs. I appreciate y'all.
That's the week for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's Friday, baby.
Is it? Now, in reality, it really could be Friday.
Let's go, Michelle. Let's go. Get us
you
out
know
here
what?
before we start.
Because when we come back next week, have y'all heard the blues song that the guy did for Jasmine Crockett?
All right, go. What's
it's
it called?
fire. I got it. I'll play it for y'all.
Yeah.
I'll play it during the break. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's the show.
I guess I'll sign us
Thank you,
off.
Clark.
Debo.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Michelle.
I said what?
Thank you. Oh no, I was signing off for you. Michelle, thank you.
I said thank you.
And to all of the listeners,
I said that.
say something real and be back Monday. Oh,
I said all that.
Oh, okay, bye.